What's up, everybody? Today we are back with another review. This time it is Neighbors Suburban Warfare from indie developer Invisible Walls. In fact, they only have one other game on Steam. That's all the way from back in 2017. The premise of Neighbors Suburban Warfare is it's two teams. They each have a house, and in the house there's essential items: TV, toilet, bedroom, oven, boiler in the basement. And the goal of your team is to defend your essential house items and then go and get into the neighbor's house and destroy their essential items. First team to destroy their neighbor's 4 essential items wins the game. I think there's 5, but you have to destroy 4. Yeah, there's 5, and you only have to destroy 4 of them. When you destroy 4, you win the game. I don't know why there's 5, but you only have to destroy 4. But that's the way it is. And then as the game goes on, you have a shop where you can buy different weapons, different defenses. You can buy utility things like an oil pump, oil well that gives you money so you can buy more stuff. And then you can buy stuff for demolition: crowbar, saw, sledgehammer, to help you demolish things sooner, because your character's own item that they start with doesn't really do a whole lot of damage typically. And going into neighbors' houses isn't as easy as just crossing the street and walking in. Of course, they have defenses, and you don't only put defenses on your property. You can place them all around the map, including on the other team's property. And you have to either go through gates, which are locked, so you have to destroy them, which notifies the team and gives them an opportunity to come defend where you're trying to destroy. You got to destroy holes in fences. Then you got to destroy doors on the house or windows to actually get in the house, because everything's locked. You can't buy a lockpick, of course, and then during the game, resources are dropped off at the construction site, in your front yard, and in your neighbor's front yard, and you have to go grab those resources and bring them back to your shop, and that's how you can unlock better defenses, offenses, utilities, or demolition tools. So it's, you can steal resources until they get cached in the opponent's shop, so you can go right in their front yard. You can steal things that some items have to be delivered by delivery van. You can go steal those. So it's literally neighbor warfare. There is like 8 different characters. There's like 3 different maps, and then there's like 4 or 5 different house layouts. And you can earn an in-game currency by winning and losing games to be able to purchase different housing layouts. And then going into the game, you vote on the map and you vote on the house layout. And then the game begins, and you can each select a character. Everybody can only select one of each character. When the game first dropped, it wasn't that way. You could have 4 of the same character on your team of 4, but now everybody has to be a unique character. That's the premise of the game. It's different, it's fun, it's zany, it's goofy. It is only in early access right now, so of course take some of this review with a grain of salt. I don't remember if there's plans for it to come to console. I want to guess there is, because if it's only on Steam, it's not going to survive. The player count's kind of iffy right now, because there's not a lot of publicity. It's an indie game, and it's just not a typical like FPS. It is in first person, as you can see by the gameplay behind me. But as usual, we're going to go through our cons, then our so-sos, then our pros. And at the end, I will wrap up thoughts and include a rating. But without further ado, let's jump into the cons. So one of the biggest cons is this. I put servers on here. Sometimes I think that some of the issues aren't exactly the servers. But so there is a lot of rubber banding. We're going to kind of combine 2 points into these servers. There's a lot of rubber banding. Sometimes it feels like just when I activate my sprint, that I rubber band. Sometimes when I'm like jumping over, crossing through items, it feels like I rubber band. Sometimes when I'm like right next to a teammate and we both hit sprint at the same time and we're like shoulder to shoulder, I rubber band. And sometimes it just feels like server rubber banding. And of course, this is an indie developer that doesn't have a whole lot of servers around the world, can only afford so much. And so I don't expect servers to be perfect. I don't expect super high tick rates or there to be a lot of available servers, which leads into my other point about servers. I get a lot of Russian names. And I'm not good at discerning the different Asian languages that don't have like the letters. They have the symbols. And now I'm blanking how to differentiate what that's called. But I get a lot of people who are clearly in other countries, meaning there's not a lot of servers. And some of that's player count. They're trying to fill in games as they can. And so you're going to end up on other servers or get people on your servers from all around the world because the player count's not super high. The next con I have is movement speed. There is a sprint, but it's like 10 or 15 seconds to refresh. And other than that, the movement speed is very, very slow. But there's like a little kid character, Kevin, and you're able to sling around the map with essentially a grappling hook. But other than that, there's not a lot of movement speed. There's Doreen, the old lady. When you use her ult, she gets unlimited sprint, but the movement speed overall is pretty slow. And, if you time your sprint wrong and somebody who's trying to chase you down and knock you out, they activate their sprint at the right time and they catch you. There's no getting away because the movement speed is just not there. So I think a little more movement speed would be nice. Just a tick more movement speed. Next, we have the lack of mode diversity. There is only one mode. It is just a defend your house, destroy their house mode. I don't know how much with staying within the concept you could diversify your modes, but it can get a little repetitive. Now, I don't mind playing for 2-3 hours, but sometimes I'll get on Warzone, even when I wasn't liking Warzone, although I'm addicted right now, and play for 4, 5, 6 hours and the time flies by. I don't think I could do that with this game just because the mode diversity, and then another con I have is the team balance is so. So when you're playing the same mode over and over again, and if you keep ending up on crappy teams, it's hard to keep wanting to grind this game. I mean, 2 to 3 hours is still a lot of game time. For normal people, that is not a daily thing. I'm lucky to be in a position where it is. And so, 2 to 3 hours is still a long time. But the lack of mode diversity would make it hard on a free Saturday just to play all day and have fun. And then I mentioned team balance. The next one is body blocking. Body blocking I have issues with in a lot of games. I just don't think in multiplayer games where other people are in control of their own characters that body blocking should be a thing, or not like full hitbox body blocking, because 2 of you can't go through a door. It's not like in real life where you could turn sideways. 2 of you can't go through a door, even if you're Kevin and another one of the characters. I don't know who the skinniest character would be. So a little kid and the skinniest character. You both can't fit. So somebody has to give up and back away from the door and let the other one through. I at least don't think there should be body blocking with your own team. Maybe with the other team, but not with your own team. So moving on to the so-sos. Only got 2 of them. First one is game length. Now, I did have a game that was 12 minutes. At the time of recording, I don't know how long this review is going to be, so it might be that. Or I had games that were over 20 minutes, which that might be the background game, depending on this review. And so the game length varies. And because you don't know the game length, if you only have time for a game, on your lunch break, if you work from home, if it's the one game I had, it's not one of the ones that I clipped from Twitch, but it was 30 minutes. We went into overtime. I've only been overtime once, but it was over 30 minutes. And sometimes games are 10 minutes, depending on, and part of that's team balance, depending on the teams. So the game length is really, really inconsistent, with a huge range. And sometimes the games are too long. This goes back to the mode diversity, where some people like long games. Let me just say it. Some people like when a match lasts a long time, and that's a possibility in this game, and that's why it's not in cons. And some people like really quick matches, which is why it's not in pros. And part of that goes to mode diversity. Maybe there's a mode where there's only 3 things you have to destroy, or there's a limited amount of things that you can buy, so it's easier to just rush into somebody's house, right? Or, you can have different games, or maybe there's a mode now where there's another house and there's 3 teams or 4 teams, right? There's only one mode, and a lot of that is early access, small indie developer with limited resources. But the game length is inconsistent, so it's hard to, fit in games if you're trying, you got a busy day, you only have so much game time, trying to plan it out. And because there's no modes that are short, it can't go into pros or cons, and there's no, hey, this is just always going to be long, so it can't really go into pros and cons, so it's so-sos. The next so-so is spawns. Part of this is maybe, skill issue, knowledge issue, but if you're not familiar with the house layout and you just spawn in random spots in your own house throughout the game, you might get confused where you're at, go out the wrong way, or because people can put traps all over the house. And something I should have put in cons is barbed wire is one of the defenses you can get. Well, your own barbed wire or your team's own barbed wire can slow you down, and I've had a bunch of games where I just spawn right into the barbed wire. I think spawns should be consistent. I think they should be around one area, or since there's so many different places to spawn, if there's barbed wire through that spawn, maybe spawn them somewhere where there's not barbed wire, because other traps don't slow you down when they're your own team's traps. So then moving on to pros, one of the biggest pros is this is just different. I can't think of a game that's really like this. Especially the goofiness, the funness of it, it's very cartoony, it's very goofy, it's very fun, and it's just a unique concept. Of course, there has been games where, hey, we have a base we're trying to keep safe, another team has a base that they're trying to keep safe, let's go destroy the base. That's not a brand new idea to anybody, right? But the way of doing it, Um, the different variety of offensive weapons, defensive weapons, offensive weapons with defense, demolition weapons that have damage stats that go up the stronger the demolition weapon. So the game is just very different. One of the things that's very different is like one of the offensive weapons you can buy is a van that does a drive by that like throws eggs and shit. Another one that's like different is there's an orange cannon, or there's one where you can control a pigeon and literally use that remote control pigeon to poop on the other team, destroy things in their yard, damage them, knock them out even. And so the concept's different. The weapons and the defense, like one of the defenses for your house is a baseball pitching machine. Another one's a springboard trap. The demolition weapons are a sledgehammer, a saw, a crowbar. So like things are very different. Like it goes into the goofiness and the funness, which leads to the next pro. It's just an unserious game. And if we're talking about FPSs, if we're talking about Call of Duty, me calling Call of Duty iteration unserious would be in the cons. But this whole game is supposed to be goofy and fun and just like hey, it's a different thing than what you've played before, so have fun with it, right? That's what this essentially is. And so because of the difference, it can be unserious and it can be a break from sweaty games that people are playing like Warzone or Apex or Fortnite, especially if you're playing ranked on Fortnite. The pubs mode's not that crazy. If you're used to playing serious games, you need a break. This is a good way to do that. The next pro we have is character variety. There is a lot of different characters. There's only 8, but they're all very unique. You have some characters that lean much more into defense. You have some characters that lean much more into offense. You have characters that can, you have a character that can repair damaged doors and windows while also being great on offense. A lot of people's high kills are with that same character, who I can't remember her name. That's the one with the wrench. And looking at how long this take recording, that's the gameplay in the background. One of my higher kill games or knockout games, because I guess you're not killing people. But the characters are very different. They fit a lot of different play styles. Then within that, they also have their own perk systems where they have one specific perk for them, and then there's universal perks that you can use on all of the neighbors. And so the character variety is nice. Of course, at the end of the day, this is mostly melee, right? And so you're mostly meleeing people. But the melee weapons are different, and they have different secondary uses oftentimes. And so character variety is really good. The next pro I have, and this should be at the top because this is the first thing you do when you open the game, is there's a tutorial. The tutorial could be a little more in depth to the point where I thought about putting it to so-so, maybe give you like a practice round or whatever. It just shows you the real basics, and there's a lot to learn on your own, which is a pro or a con or a so-so, depending on who you ask. But just having a tutorial is always going to be a pro. The next is something that we mentioned when I was talking about the premise of the game. There's both house voting and map voting. So the whole lobby votes on the map, and then your team votes on house layouts. And there is an in-game currency. It's the silver coins. I don't remember what it's actually called, but you can buy different house layouts, which then are available for you and your team. And so just being able to vote on the map and the house layout can make game to game feel different compared to previous games, which is a good thing, right? So it doesn't get as stale. That goes back into when I was talking about, this is a game that's a nice break, but they only have one mode. So it's kind of in that realm where we're looking to keep things feeling fresh enough to want to keep playing, and being able to vote on different maps and different house layouts, and the other team can vote on a different house layout, keeps things feeling a little bit fresh when you only have one mode. And finally, prox chat. Prox chat's always fun. I had a guy talking trash. Actually kind of pissed me off. He called me stupid because I lost him in a bush because he's Kevin, who's a little kid who can easily get lost in a bush. But in fact, I had somebody on another team. I was using this game to help start learning mouse and keyboard, and I was like, oh my god, how do I drop stuff? Somebody on the other team, not my team, was like, hit G. And so prox chat helped me there as well. And so prox chat I always think is a good thing. So just running through things again, cons, we have servers and just rubber banding in general, movement speed, lack of mode diversity, body blocking, especially with your own teammates, and overall team balance. In the so-sos, we have the game length being really inconsistent, and some being upwards of 30 minutes, some being 10 to 12 minutes. The spawns in this game, you just spawn in random points in the house. It would be nice to spawn in one area, and you could spawn on stuff like barbed wire, which slow you down despite it being your own team strap. And then pros, this game is different. The game is just a unserious, goofy, fun game. The character variety is good, especially for only 8 characters. The tutorial exists and is somewhat helpful. The house and the map voting and the prox chat all in all, I thought this was a fun, goofy game. It's not super complicated, although I could see, somebody that really puts in a lot of hours learning the best strategies and having a real advantage over people that haven't put in the time. So I think the game is a fun concept. I'd like to see it make it out of early access into a full-fledged release, coming to consoles and everything. I mean, they already have controller support, so I'm pretty sure they're going to consoles at some point. But I would like to see a wider release of Neighbor Suburban Warfare. I think it's a fun, goofy, unserious game. You and your friends just want to have a good laugh, or you just don't want to be sweaty in a BR, arena shoot or whatever. I think it's a fun game. I obviously don't think it's perfect. I had a list of cons 5, and one of them was kind of a dual con with the server / the rubber banding. The so-sos, there's 2 on there. But the pros, there were 6. So, I mean, if you add cons and so-sos, and really you could split the cons and so-sos, and it's like right 50-50, that doesn't mean it's a 5 out of 10. I'd probably say as the game stands now, I'd give it about a 6.5 or 7. I'd like to see one more mode, maybe make it a team v team, a 3-team match, or just a different objective. I don't know what the other objective would be. Maybe just a legit team deathmatch. And you can still earn resources to upgrade. You could still keep a lot of the core identity, but it's just total knockouts instead of total destruction. Overall, though, I think if it's only $10 right now. So if you're on PC, you want to take a break from something, I think it's worth the $10 to try out and have fun. I mean, even if you only play for 2 or 3 hours, you don't really like it. What is that? $3 to $5 an hour. I know the economy is tough, but when we're talking gaming, that's relatively cheap. But I think most people who are just looking for a fun, unserious, goofy game that's a little different than the typical games, I do think would enjoy it, and I do think it's worth it. Like I said, I'd probably give it maybe like a 6.5 at the highest. Maybe, I don't want to go down to 5. Like 6.5 is about where I put it. So I'm going to let the rest of the gameplay play out behind me. There's a higher kill match we did end up losing. The other gameplay I thought about using for the background if it was a short enough recording was a win. It was another high kill win. That uses one thing I didn't put on here was mystery boxes where you can get random items. That was interesting. I don't know where I'd put that pros, so cons. But game's fun. I think it's worth the $10 to at least try out. If you're somebody like me who wants to learn mouse and keyboard, it's not overly complicating the controls. It's a good way to start getting comfortable on mouse and keyboard. But yeah, like I said, 6.5 out of 10. Worth the $10. Worth if you're just looking for something different. But that's my thoughts on Neighbors Suburban Warfare from indie developer Invisible Walls. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like this type of content and want to see it first. I try to review any games I'm interested. In fact, we have Steel Seed that just came out, which I need to play through and put out a review. But if you like reviews, you like to know about new games, definitely hit that notification bell, because in between my Apex and Warzone content, that's what you'll find. And comment down below what you think of Neighbor Suburban Warfare. Have you played it? Have you not? If you haven't, are you interested? If you have, are you going to keep playing it? If not, why not? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next review. Enjoy the gameplay finishing out behind me. Have a good day. Bye. Jesus, bro. Oh, I just got a sledgehammer. Fuck. I need to go get a sledgehammer. I need to get over to their house. Will laugh and I will. I don't know how much that drive-by really did. Can I have my sledgehammer? Mystery box. Oh, dude, they're about to breach into the house again. Oh, dude. I just realized I didn't get my sledgehammer, someone else grabbed it. Oh well. No, go, go, go. Oh, dude, I'm dead. Wow, I got baited right into that bear trap. Dude, how are we even close to winning? Are we all dead?
Yo, why the fuck would you pull your own teammate, you dickhead, bro?
But what is he even talking about? Who's doing? Oh, I missed.
Oh, he's got the brain play there, bro. You get fucking shot at in the back. Oh my god, he's got retarded.
Oh no.
They're coming, baby.
I tried. Approach 2 and 12, crying. I mean, you gotta die there, right? Like, she's in the house with the super jackhammer, destroying shit. Like, we're about to lose because of it. Yep. Yep.